So who gives a fuck?
I don't know, man. I mean, you get the politics is really pretty funny to me. Uh, he's like Ukraine Americans. It's like there's a difference there. Let's do this right
Is
quick.
a beacon to the world. America is a beacon to the world.
No, I'm not a Democrat. I've never voted in my life in the Democratic Party, and I never voted the Democratic Party. It's racist and it's capitalist to the core. This is understood. And I shed my blood. I shed my blood for the vote now. I want to make that clear. Some people get confused. The vote for me has never been the road to liberation. It's only the means of organizing my people.
You're the one who put the present Democratic administration in Washington, D.C. The whites were evenly divided. It was the fact that you threw 80% of your votes behind the Democrats that put the Democrats in the White House. What do you get out of it? You put them first and they put you last. Because you're a chump.
Because there are many of us who feel that not only the Republican Party, but the Democratic Party as well is committed to upholding a system of exploitation and racism. If you look at the McGovern campaign, McGovern didn't even raise the question of racism, and he was supposed to be the far left wing of the Democratic Party.
So yeah, the Democrats don't get a pass, and they shouldn't get a pass. And it's like we have to ask ourselves the question: why haven't things changed over time for the American people when you have these two parties who are supposed to be like on different sides of the political spectrum, you know, but things generally stay the same as we pendulum back and forth between the Republicans and the Democrats having control, but the results ends up being the same, you know. They want to give the Democrats a pass and call the Republicans the bad guys. And I'm like, I can't roll with that. You know, I have to go with the two wings, same bird, you know, good cop, bad cop, because that makes more sense to me. It says Democrats and Republicans.
My little profile picture makes a lot more sense now.
Oh, yeah, I see it. Yeah. Let me read this. It says Democrats and Republicans are expected to battle yet again to win over the Black community's vote to seal a victory in November's U.S. presidential election. Yet African revolutionaries have long denounced both parties as two sides of the same coin. Despite mass disillusionment with U.S. electoral politics at an all-time high and U.S. President Joe Biden's dismal approval rating, he remains the presumptive Democratic Party nominee. Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump has emerged as the leading contender in the Republican primary process. Do you agree with the revolutionaries who say both parties represent racism, capitalism, and imperialism? If so, will it stop you from voting if you're in the U.S.? Malcolm X famously described Republicans and Democrats as the wolf and the fox. No matter what, they'll both eat you. Do you agree with him? Yeah, they both eat you. We're getting 8, all of us. It says Donald Trump did more for Black people more than any president aside Lincoln. I don't know about that. Another one, it says Democrats and Republicans are for the same team. Now I can roll with that one. Another one that says
that Trump and Lincoln thing, I can agree with the first half, maybe not the second half.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, he did a lot, and he was never given credit for any of it.
Yeah, I think Trump did do some good things. And what really sucks is that, you know, depending on what side you're on, it's like you're not allowed to say, like, I can sit here and say Trump did some good things when he was president. And I can also say Biden did some good things when he was president. But it's like, it's sacrilegious. It's like blasphemous to be able to say that, you know. It's like you have to be on one side and say that, you know, only my side did good things and the other side is the demons. You know what I mean? And how did we get here that, you know, you can't say the other guy that's on the other team has done anything good?
Because it's the devil you know that you're most comfortable with.
Hmm. Let me see. Another comment says, Democrats are not a left-wing party. No party in American politics is left-wing. Both parties have installed dictatorships throughout the world who went on to commit genocide against their people. Even Jimmy Carter government, and he is considered a gentleman in today's political world. Another comment says, so in all presidential, gubernatorial, mayoral, congressional, local, judicial elections, we only get two choices, Democrat or Republican. So is this post suggesting that Black people shouldn't participate at all? What's the alternative? Somebody tell me. That's actually a really good question right there. And it's like, it's like the third parties, a lot of them don't really have a shot. So that is a problem. So, but if we do support the third parties so that they can get max funding, then at some point they can become, viable. So, but if we always make the argument that this is the most important election of our time and the world's going to come to an end if we don't vote for the lesser of two evils, then the third parties are never going to be viable. So that's the problem.
One of the problems I've had with a lot of third party vote so far, because I have never voted a straight ticket. Every election that I've looked at that I can think of, I've voted for some on both sides, and I tend to lean toward independence. But because of that, I also realized that a lot of time when I really think about it, I don't necessarily think the independent is the most competent for the job, but he has the least attached agendas. So I feel like he's more likely to try to get something done, which he can't because he has no power. Even once you give him the position, he has no power because he's an independent and everybody's voting block.
Right.
So if he doesn't go with one side or the other as an independent on everything, they'll start blocking. They won't let him introduce anything.
Yeah, he won't get no support. So, the money in the politics is the problem, because the whole reason that people go Democrat or Republican is because of the fundraising machines that the DRC and the RNC have to help people get elected. People need those radio ads. They need those TV ads to really have a chance at winning. And if you don't have the funding to get those ads, then you really pretty much don't have a chance, because most of the American people are never going to see you. They ain't going to know your name. They won't know your policies or whatever. So, but why come we can't have a system where there's no such thing as a DRR and everybody is an independent? And then at that point, then people would have to look at the policies of the person to make their decisions, because a lot of people just vote D or R or whatever. They don't have to use their mind.
I actually think this little $3 we put to our taxes towards one party or the other, I think since they have so much money, neither party should get it. I think that should be kept in a fund to be applied for from only independent candidates. Only non-funded. And I'm sorry, if you've got a little, we're the Pink Petunia Party and all that, well, you've got a party. You're not an independent. You don't have access to that money. You have backers, you have financiers, beyond, and an independent person is going to have the same thing. But if they're not attached to a party, like I said, I think that money should go to non right and left, because they have enormous finance backing. Yeah. They don't need that extra $3 out of my tax. Even if I'm just saying, hey, here, you can have it.
They be having money left over from previous elections and shit. Like, until we get the money in politics thing dealt with, it ain't gonna matter about nothing. Nothing's going to matter because that's the elephant in the room. And, you know,
Give everybody a maximum limit.
yeah, you know, because the elections are getting bigger
Well,
and bigger as far
You
as
do that, and then you've got independent people. It's like that'll come out and go, "Well, I'm not him, but I support him, and I can do this commercial for him because that's me and my free speech."
and that's fair. But you see how each election cycle now, the amount of money being spent on the elections have grown every year after year. And it's getting so astronomical in the amount of money that they spend. Even for some of these smaller offices, they go for these smaller offices, their pay may be, you know, a couple 100,000, 300,000 a year, whatever. I don't know what the number is. But then they spend millions of dollars to be able to get elected. Like, the money, it's not adding up. It doesn't really make any damn sense. You're going for a job that's worth a couple $100,000 a year, and it's costing you millions of dollars to get that job. Like, what sense does that?
Hey, this is a shout out to the
You know, how does that work? You know what I mean? There's something wrong. I want to risk playing this one. I don't know. They might get me for this one too, but I want to risk it because it's a parody. So it's